everyone, and welcome to another episode of Break into College. Today, I'm going to be joined by two friends, Morgan and Kahlil, both from Berea College. Now, here's the thing I want you to understand about Berea. It's absolutely too good to be true, but everything we tell you about Berea College is absolutely true. It's the number one college in the country at this moment. And I've got two folks from their admissions department to talk to you all about the greatness of Berea College. Morgan Hudson Mecham is the student recruitment and engagement coordinator, and she also is the first generation connection liaison. Kahlil Baker is the Assistant Director of Mission Advancement, focusing on mission advancement and strategic partnerships. Today, we're going to talk too good to be true. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Hello, Morgan.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. And Kahlil, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hello.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so I first want to get into, and let's talk about a little bit. Morgan, tell us how you got involved with Berea and what you actually do at the college now.
Yeah, absolutely. I was originally from a small town in East Tennessee. I grew up with just my mom and I. We definitely had some pretty limited resources when it came time to planning out what I wanted to do for college or for a
Mhm.
career. But I was blessed with a very supportive mom who was going to help me achieve my dreams no matter what it took. And I was able to get connected with a school counselor who told me about Berea. And I put all of my eggs in one basket and really hoped that Berea would accept me, and they did. So after my 4 years as a student, I really wanted to be able to give back and work with students who I would be able to relate to.
Mhm.
And so I joined the Office of Admissions, going on my sixth cycle here.
Oh,
And now I work one on one, helping students from Tennessee and a few other places see themselves here.
awesome. I love a story like that. And Kahlil, tell us how you got involved with Berea and what it is that you do now.
So it's two part. When I first went to Berea as a student,
Mm,
my mom was a single mom working as a cashier at a gas station. So you
okay.
can imagine she didn't have much as far as resources.
Hmm.
I had a counselor that got to know me well. Went to a school down here in the Birmingham area, and she just brought in who became my mentor, Carl Thomas, to meet me and said, this kid will be a good fit for Berea College. Our commitment to interracial education, our commitment to serving folks that come from financial need,
Hmm.
um, introduced me to Berea College. I visited campus and I just felt, okay, this is the place for me.
Hmm.
So that's what brought me to Berea as a student. Fast forward about, 25 years or so after my graduation. My mentor that I mentioned, Carl Thomas, was retiring. And someone reached out to me and connected me with the then director of admissions and saw this opportunity. I was serving as a director of the Martin Luther King Center at the University of Kentucky. And this spoke to my life's work as far as being able to help, in particular, Black students, but all students of color, just because of our commitment to interracial education that allowed me to have that focus in my career and help
Hmm.
folks get what I got from Berea.
Awesome. And I learned about Berea maybe a little earlier this year. And ever since I first learned about it, I have been telling everybody, did you know about Berea? Have you heard about Berea? And then I just found out that Berea is ranked number one in the country. Give me
Yeah.
the exact title of it, Morgan. Tell me it's number one of the what?
Yeah, so Washington Monthly just released their 2025 rankings, and Berea was top, best college in the nation. In the past, we've snagged that number one best liberal arts title here and there, and we've always been proud. But now we beat out every other school in the country.
Wow, that is so beyond to me because in my mind, you just don't think of, a college that's small. outdoing everyone else or like coming in
Wow.
front or in top of anybody else. But to know that Berea has done that and snag that number one spot out of everyone in the country is absolutely almost bananas for me. And I can say when Kahlil first talked to me about it some months ago, I thought to myself, why did I not know about this? Because definitely would have been down there. There are some very interesting perks to being a part of Berea, and I'm going to go to Kahlil for this one. Berea is free, sort of. Go ahead and tell us about that.
So we in admissions, we try not to use the free word,
Right.
but a lot of folks use that word to find us.
Mm-hmm.
Berea College for over 100 years has not asked our students to pay any of their tuition dollars.
Mm-hmm.
However, that money gets paid through our endowment that we have over $1.6 billion. Friends of the college, alumni, foundations, a lot of people give money based on our mission and who we are as a college to support our students to make sure that they don't have to pay the tuition. So it's not free. But then the other part that is there too, the three big pillars other than tuition, the other two are housing and meals. But we're very much aligned with the needs of the students. So when students fill out their FAFSA and they get their student aid index number, which is basically what the government says their family should be able to afford for them to pay for college, that's the amount that they pay for housing and meals. So if you're like me, when I went to Berea, and back then it was called the EFC, the Expected Family Contribution Number, my number wasn't zero. So that's what I paid for housing and meals for, I think, my first 3 years. And so it's not free, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really based on where you are economically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I like
Just,
that you said not free, but based on where you are economically, because that's something that a lot of people understand more so now. Going according to your household's income would be what you would be expected to pay. And like you said, yours was zero for 3 years, but then it changed up a little bit as kind of got into adulthood and were able to support a little bit better. Hmm.
and can I add a little bit to my answer too?
Absolutely.
Because a big part of it is our commitment to serving folks that have earned a quality education like you can get at a private liberal arts like Berea College, but would not be able to necessarily afford it easily.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it works is you have to qualify for a Pell Grant and meet other requirements around the financial piece. But one of the shorthand ways that I explain it to folks is if you can afford Berea College, you really can't attend Berea College, which
Mm-hmm.
is problematic for a lot of our alumni that graduate and start making big money who
Right.
can't send their children to Berea College.
Mm-hmm. And understandably so, once you've kind of leveled up, you shouldn't really need it, but you should support. And I know, I can't go because I'm now an adult and I don't really fit in there, but it's definitely something that's on my mind to make sure that I tell others about and make sure that other people, with deep pockets can support. Because yes, it is lower, no cost for some students. However, we want to keep it that way. Now, Morgan, can you tell me a little bit about the meals there? Because I know Kahlil said you have to pay sometimes for your housing and your meals and things like that. With you being the most recent student that we have here, is it typical college meal or is it really something that, you were like, okay, I can live with this?
Yeah, I actually, oddly enough, really like to talk about this because I think this is a perfect example of how Berea goes above and beyond to serve our students. Every student that attends Berea has an unlimited meal plan. There aren't a set number of swipes per week or even per semester because the very last thing we want is for a student to feel like they can't just go have a meal if they're hungry.
Mhm,
We also work with a population that is a lot more likely to have faced food insecurity in the past.
mhm.
And why would we ever want them to have to relive that type of stress while they're also working towards a degree in a new place and a new atmosphere? So the dining hall is open from roughly 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. And the options there are insane. There's always fire grilled pizza, there's hibachi grills, build your own pasta bars, home style cooking like what you might find at home from your own parents. Um, everything to suit pretty much any type of diet as well as allergy friendly stuff. So everybody is sure to find, something for them there.
I love that idea that, nobody is giving a certain amount of swipes because that can cause stress, especially to some people, all from, single parent households. We
Yeah.
know what it's like to this week may or may not have what I want for lunch or may not be able to have as much as I want. Can't have, if I ate breakfast, then I'm probably going to have to skip lunch or I have to skip breakfast so that I can't have lunch. I love the idea of not kind of perpetuating that food insecurity that a lot of people have, from growing up and now they're going to go into adulthood feeling that threat of maybe I won't have food. So you really take that away and alleviate that. And I'm quite sure that puts a lot of parents at ease when they hear from their children. Kahlil, have you had any interaction with parents who have kind of talked to you about their children doing so well in the school now that they've been there and they don't have all the pressure that they used to have at home?
Yeah, I mean, a big part of it is, and historically, since I've been in a position, I work with a lot of parents that are sending their students from a longer distance. Um, Except over the last year, my area has changed a little bit. But that's one of the key things that I tend to hear from parents. And often I hear from parents that there's some parents, like there's one parent in Georgia, for example, whose student plays sports, and they give me a call every semester. Their student is a junior, and they give me a call every semester, and they just let me know how their student is doing. Whether it's them going up to see their student, or sometimes they're able to travel to see the games because of the division that we're in and where we play relative to Georgia. And it's great to hear that they're having the experiences that I shared with them
Right.
that they would have as part of being part of the Berea community.
I love that that is something that parents are getting to experience too. Because a lot of parents, if they grow up, kind of working jobs that aren't really huge money makers, they do often wonder, am I going to be able to have this kind of experience with my child? And they know, according to, the family purse strings, that it's probably not likely. But Berea gives everybody that good college experience and doesn't withhold anything. And I really love that. So parents who normally wouldn't be able to see their child play college sports or, see them do great things in college can now see that and know that there's hope even for the future generations of the family because somebody was given this opportunity. So, Morgan, here recently, has there been anything that you think has really stood out to you with Berea and the admissions process, especially at the top of a new school year?
Oh, absolutely. I think that every year is exciting because it's a brand new group of students, and our admissions process really allows us to dive into who the individual is.
Mhm.
Of course, we're going to learn about their academics from their transcripts, we're going to hear about them from
Right.
teachers, but there's just so many opportunities for a student to plug their voice in so that we can hear their story in their own words and really give life to their file. That I think Berea just does so phenomenally, and it is such a joy to work with these young adults.
Mm, I love
And I'm
that.
sorry, but can I add to that? Can I add to that
Absolutely. I'm
curtain for a
coming
little
right
bit?
over. Absolutely.
Because I want to brag about Morgan and the
Oh
other
gosh.
specialists. We have a very holistic process
Hmm.
as far as looking at our students and taking a holistic view of admitting students. And one of the things that we did last year, and because there's so much that goes into it beyond just looking at transcript and
Hmm.
application, one of the things that we did in the last cycle was try to shorten the process a little bit to make it a little bit more manageable for our staff. So one of the things we did was we lessened the amount of chats. And the chat is a small conversation that the counselors get to have, an intentional conversation with some intentional questions to really get to know the student and their fit and
Hmm.
how much Berea will also be a fit for them. That took a big part of the load off of the specialists last cycle.
Hmm.
Towards the end of the cycle, and I hope I'm okay saying this, Morgan. I hope I don't get in trouble for share what's happening behind the curtain. But the counselors really pushed for, we want to do more of the chats. The
Hmm.
chats were so helpful for us to get to know the students. We really want to do that. So we found a median that allows for the I think for the specialists to do a lot more chats as part of the process because they really want to continue to get to know the students. And
Mhm.
to me, that speaks to that team of our staff that they want, hey, give me more work because it allows me to do my work better. And
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
doesn't
I've
happen too often.
yeah, I've never had the pleasure of working with such a dedicated group of people. We all have so much happening in our daily lives, but every day people are choosing to show up here and serve others. And it's really heartwarming and just so rewarding.
I love that. So, Morgan, I want you to tell me, what is it like? So, say I'm a parent and I've got a child who's maybe a
Mhm.
sophomore going into junior year of high school, and I want my child to go to Berea. What do I do? What are the steps? What does that plan look like?
Yeah, I think that, it's going to look a little different for everybody.
Mhm.
The easy answers are, take challenging classes, join some extracurriculars. But really, we know that that isn't always the easiest possibility for students. Maybe
Mhm.
they go to a school that doesn't offer AP. Maybe they have to leave after school right away and go work a job to support their family. Those are all things Berea takes into account. And we ask our students to let us know what you're up to after school so that we can really dive in again to who that person is.
Mhm.
So I think that at the end of the day, we are looking for students who want to engage with a rigorous academic challenge and want to contribute to a community. So just going ahead and starting those things at whatever level they're able to back home and showing us that interest in Berea, we will take it from there. That is my job as a specialist to help you build out that application and show your Berea.
I love that. Now, Kahlil, over to you. So we've got a child all the way set, to come in. What would you say would be the first order of business to get that child, to get that student now settled into Berea? Like, okay, so we got all these applications filled out. We've decided this is the school we want. What's the first order of business to making sure that we uh, can kind of settle down at Berea?
So the first thing that I would suggest once you get through the whole application process and get admitted, the
Mhm.
first thing that I would say for any student at that point is to do our True Blue visit.
Mhm.
Our True Blue visit gives them a very personalized look and visit with the campus, and sometimes they're able to get different components. So if they have a specific department or center that they want to see on campus or coach, we can sometimes work those specific things into their visit as well. We have grants that we've gotten that allow us to provide resources as far as whether it's mileage reimbursement or sometimes fly-in or sometimes even hotels or staying in some of the housing that we have on campus. A
Mhm.
big part of what Berea is great at is getting rid of the barriers, even barriers getting to campus to visit campus. So I strongly encourage folks to take advantage of our True Blue visit that only happens on us. And you can visit campus at any time, but the
Mhm.
True Blue visit is a different personalized experience that's set aside just for exclusively for students that have been admitted. So that's the first thing I could recommend. And if we're like flying in a student, it's the student and a guest. So it's a way for the student and the family or the parents. And if it's a flying, we only do one guest.
Mhm.
But if they're going to drive in or something like that, that's the thing. It's a True Blue visit for admitted students.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
can I jump in on that really quick too?
Absolutely. Mhm.
Perfect. So with those True Blue visits, I want to add on what Khalil was saying because I think it really exemplifies how engaged our students are throughout their time here. But those True Blue visits are also what we call shadow visits,
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
our current students volunteer their time to host one of our visiting students. So we have over 60 students every year. Admitted students can pick out who they want to host with or shadow with based on where they're from or their major or their interests and then spend a day as a Berea College student, going to class, seeing what our work program looks like, eating lunch in the dining hall, and really getting that one on one time to see is Berea the right place for me?
I love that. Now, Khalil, Morgan did mention the work program, and I know that I know a little bit about it. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit more about the work program at Berea?
Yeah, so our labor program, which has been there forever, is really about teaching the importance and integrity of a good ethic and the importance of all our roles as far as maintaining and running the college campus. One of the great things about it is you can get some real experience. So when you think of students like us that come from a low income background, often we're having to get jobs working in retail or working in fast food, something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I did that. I worked. I won't say the name of the restaurant, but I worked at a fast food place when I was younger. But what you can do on college campus, one of the great ones that I like to highlight is working in our IT department. So for all of our students that come to campus, every student gets a brand new Dell laptop computer. All of our staff, faculty have laptops. So we have a pretty sizable IT need on our campus. So if you come to campus and your interest is in computer programming or computer engineering or somewhere around that technology piece to deal with laptops or computers, you can get a job in your probably your sophomore year. And actually, they've made some changes this year as far as some of the things freshmen are able to do. But you get assigned a job in your freshman year. And then towards the end of your freshman year, then you apply for a job going into your next year. And so you get some of the soft skills around filling out applications, putting together your resume, doing interviews, doing job searches, and you can get some really valuable experience that's really specific to your needs, your interests. So imagine you graduate with 3 years working in IT, doing actual work in your career field. So when you're applying to your grad program or when you're going into the workforce, you have that specific experience. And that's everywhere on campus, from our president's office to maintenance in the residence halls to working on our farm or whatever it might be. So some folks might get a job that's around their personal interests. They really like to be outside. So they want to do beautification of campus outside, as opposed to others that might be interested in working in the office setting. So they're working in our president's office or in admissions. We have a bunch of students that work in admissions.
You said farm.
Yes.
And when I hear farm, I think, Charlotte's Web, because I'm that kind of, I was born in that era. What exactly does the Berea farm look like? And what exactly could a student do if they chose to work at the farm?
You want to take that one, Morgan?
Yeah, I love talking about our farm.
Okay.
It is one of the oldest student-run farms in the country. And I mean, if you can think about an animal that lives on a farm, we probably have it. So there's pigs and cows, chickens, of course. I personally really love the chickens. And our students are the ones that are really out there taking care of them. Of course, they are, overseen by professional staff members, but they do everything from livestock care and feeding to learning how to do vaccinations on animals. We also have a horticulture farm where we grow produce. And a decent amount of the food that is served, of the greens specifically served in our dining hall, are grown here on campus. You'll also notice in our dining hall that there are no trash cans because we compost all of the food and it either goes back into tilling soil or it gets fed back to the pigs.
I think that is probably one of the most spot on things that I've ever heard, because homesteading and all that stuff is now like all the wave and everybody's wanting to learn how to take care of animals, kind of get back to the way things were before. And to know that Berea has that kind of program where you can actually get a degree and learn how to do all of those
Mm-hmm.
things at the same time, it almost seems like it's too good to be true. So tell me, I'm going to go to Morgan on this one. Tell me,
Oh,
what's one thing that is about Berea that you think that people would think is too good to be true, but it absolutely is? And Kahlil,
I
I'm
mean,
going
I
to
think,
next, so think of yours.
oh goodness, I think the obvious answer is the financial aid.
Hmm.
Um, I know for me, I'm now very good friends with the person that served as my admissions counselor when I was applying to Berea, and he never lets me forget how I walked up into my interview for admission, all 17 years of boldness, and told him to his face that I thought Berea was a scam. And now here I am, sitting in the office right beside what was his. Um, I think that that would be it, but I think it's also the ability to just really have unlimited potential. I know for me, I always was told that I could do anything I wanted to do, but realistically, obtaining those just didn't seem feasible. Then I got here to Berea, and I'm not paying anything for my degree. I'm getting offered thousands of dollars for opportunities, and everything that I've wanted to do, I've been able to achieve.
Yeah, that almost does seem too good to be true. Kahlil, what do you say would be your too good to be true fact?
Mine, I, I want to go with something else, but it's kind of hard to. Um, Mine is the quality education you get,
Mm.
along with the ability to graduate with little to no debt. Um, when I graduated from Berea, I was afraid to go to grad school. I was dealing with my own case of imposter syndrome, and oh, they just really took care of me at Berea. It was a nurturing environment. I don't know that I can do this at the next level. Went to grad school at a research university, got my master's, and I was upset I did the 3 year program instead of the 2 year program because I was prepared for it in ways that I didn't even realize. In some ways, it was even easier than some of the academic expectations I got at Berea. And that's not to scare anyone, but when I am talking to families, when I am talking to students, counselors, I prepare folks. If you come to Berea, it's a quality education that is going to challenge you, even the best prepared students. But the other piece that goes along with that, I graduated with just over $2,000 worth of debt. The average debt of a student graduating now from a 4 year college is, last time I checked, around $30,000. It might be a little bit higher at this point. The average debt of someone graduating from Berea is, what is it, Morgan? Somewhere around 1,600 right now, with
Yeah.
around 50% of our students graduating with zero debt still.
And I think that the current number is over three-quarters of our incoming class are paying nothing at all.
That is, yeah, that right there to me is almost the too good to be true, especially thinking about what my student debt and the student debt of my household is compared to $1,600. That's almost something that you could, gather amongst family members. If everybody chipped in a little bit, that would take care of someone's entire student debt. Whereas somewhere there's a person paying $1,600 per month for the student
Yes.
debt that they have. That is absolutely phenomenal. So I want to say this to all of our listeners and viewers. If you're thinking about it, at least take a look. Berea College is absolutely everything we've said and so much more. And it seems like it's such a wonderful community to be in as well, just to be around people who care and who are mindful of, the great things that are afforded to them at barely any cost. And you still get a great education, people who care, hands-on experience, and you're not hungry either. That's a big thing there. I know too many college students who have been super hungry, and to know that there's a college who feeds the children and doesn't put a limit on, if you ate breakfast twice a day, or if you, didn't eat today and you are out of, swipes or anything like that. That would put a mom's mind at ease, knowing that her child isn't going to be somewhere, just living off of granola bars and water, and that they can actually get a good meal there. So in closing, I'm going to give both of you some space to talk to our listeners and our viewers. And of course, Morgan, I'm going to start first with you. What would you want to say to the public at large about Berea and admissions at Berea?
Oh, yeah. I think that the one thing I would want to say is even if you're nervous, even if you don't feel like college is the right move for you, to just reach out to one of the specialists. We're here doing this work because we love helping people see what their next step could be, what their future could be like at Berea. Um, and to everybody who's ever been told that, you can't go to college, people like you don't go to college. I mean, I think we're all living proof that, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. We are made for people who are told you can't go to college.
I love that. And Kahlil, on to you. What are your closing remarks?
My closing remarks, ironically, are usually what I start with, um, which is about the history of Berea College and a little bit more of who we serve. I always share with folks, Berea College established in 1855. So during slavery, during the midst of the women's suffrage movement happening, Berea College was established by abolitionist minister John G. Fee and his wife Matilda as the first college in the South to educate blacks and whites and women and men together in the same classroom. So that's who we are from day one as far as our togetherness and community and who we serve. On top of that, we mentioned the Pell eligibility piece. You have to come from financial need. What I would also share is our commitment to serving first gen students.
Mhm.
Our percentage of this incoming class so currently is 52%,
Mhm.
which is down from 67% last year, first gen students. Our retention rate is in the 80s, as opposed to the national retention rate for first gen students, I think is around 66, 65%. And we're talking about all Pell eligible students, 95, 98%, 52% first gen. Our diversity as far as the racial diversity and the makeup of geographical diversity that we have on campus, the success that we're able to have on our campus with students that often fall through the cracks on other college campuses, but that's who makes up our entire campus. And we succeed because of the model that we've developed there at Berea. Those are the things that I would share in closing that are important for folks to know. If you come to a Berea College, you're coming to a place that was created with you in mind from day one, and that's important as far as the experience that you'll have on campus.
So, Kahlil, here's another thing I want to ask you. We've all talked about coming to look at the college, make sure you take a good tour, but let's get down to the real business of it. What do you need to have, grade wise, GPA wise, and, academically to be able to get into Berea in the first place?
Good question. So the first thing is the application is free. The
Mhm.
application is always free. Like I mentioned, we want to get rid of any barriers. So free application, but we're test optional. If you give us a test, you have to have a minimum of a 19 on the ACT as far as your total score, or your super score, and with your subcomponents, you have to have at least a 17 in those areas. But we are test optional. As far as the GPA, you have to have at least a 3.0 GPA, but the average GPA, and not to discourage anyone, the average GPA is around a 3.4, 3.5. Same thing, those that are giving us test scores, the average test score is around a 24, 25 as far as ACT right now.
Okay.
But the only thing that is non-negotiable is you have to be Pell eligible and meet our financial needs. Like I said, we take the holistic approach,
Mhm.
but the Pell eligibility, the financial need is non-negotiable.
Okay, I like that. So, Morgan, let's say that, I'm an incoming freshman, 18, and I've got like a 2-year-old. Is that a problem coming to Berea? And am I going to have to get an apartment? How's that work?
Yeah, absolutely not a problem at all. We accept
Cool.
student parents all the time, and I think we are kind of uniquely prepared to support what it means to be a student and a parent. We have housing specifically made for our parenting students and their families that is on campus, so you still get that experience of being part of the community. It's also right beside the childcare that we help provide for your child while you're in class. Um, it is state of the art. It is really, it's phenomenal. It's right there, a stone's throw from campus, because I know that anxiety, being away from your kids during the day, can get a little challenging. You can look at pretty much any building on campus and be able to pretty much see the center there.
Okay, once again, too good to be true. Absolutely too good to be true. All right, Khalil, I can see you want to say something. What do you want to add in here?
be, you were saying the too good to be true, but also Morgan talking about the children. What it made me think about is, so most college campuses have a health center of some sort for
Mhm.
students to be able to get health services. We also have a dental clinic because we recognize a lot of us coming from lower incomes, we weren't necessarily raised with the best access to dental care.
Mhm.
So I don't know how long now, for maybe about a decade or so.
Mhm.
Someone had a bright idea. Hey, let's get a grant money so that we can have a dental clinic that's free to students. So all students have free access to dental care when they come to campus. And a small number of students each year are actually able to get um,
Braces.
braces, yes, when they come to campus on Berea College's dime. And I'm sorry, the sun is setting here
That's
in a
fine.
weird kind of way.
Listen, it
Yeah.
happens. I'm just still over here like Berea is more and more so becoming unreal, knowing that you can go to college and have a college provide have your parents send you to a college that provides all of the things they really wanted to for you to have and know that you're getting it at a really good, safe place. That is amazing.
Yeah, in addition to the dental clinic, there's also a health clinic. We're very fortunate that there's a hospital about 5 feet from campus, and right inside is a clinic where, our students can go if they just need um, a strep throat test, or maybe they need an update on a vaccination or anything like that. If they don't already have health insurance, we provide a coverage through the college to make sure that no student's health will get in the way of being able to continue with their studies.
Okay, sign me up. All right. That is crazy, crazy, crazy. Anything else that you want to add that, might be something that, a lot of other people take for granted when it comes to, having access? Anything else that either of you can think about?
I think Morgan and I have presented a couple times together. I think Morgan will probably want to share something about education abroad, and I want to share about internships.
Okay.
And I'll let Morgan go first.
Yeah, I think Berea is so cool because we want to send as many of our students to study anywhere else as we possibly can. We have funding to be able to cover up to 3/4 of a study abroad trip with our own funds before we help students find things like scholarships and grants. And speaking about grants, we're typically one of the top, if not the top, recipient of the National Gilman Scholarship to go abroad every year, which just really speaks to our ability to support students through that process. Um, and students aren't limited in what they can do. The requirements are that it be a legitimate academic program of some kind, and that we won't drop you in a war zone. It has to be somewhere that we know you're safe and we'll be able to get you back on our campus where you belong. And I think nationally, right now, the current number of students that go abroad during their time in college is less than 1 in 10, but we send just under half of our students abroad.
Mm, I love that.
Um, and to share a little bit about the internships, and all of this goes along with what I mentioned earlier about that endowment we have. We have a pretty sizable endowment, especially for a school our size, but it goes into investing in our students. And one of the ways we do that is with our internship program. So as you know, internships are most often working for free,
Hmm.
and in turn, I'm giving you my free labor, but I'm receiving experience. Unfortunately, there's not an even playing field when it comes to graduating with those internship experience, because when you're talking about families or students that are coming from families with a lot of resources, money in particular, they're able to go work for the summer and get those internships, and then the family is able to provide the resources to help pay for the books, pay for their term bills, and give them money that they would have saved. Whereas those of us coming from less, as far as financial backgrounds, we tend to work in the summers to save money for the school year or to help out at home. So what we do at Berea College, we try to even the playing field as far as that. So every student can do 2 fully funded internships. So what that means is I can do an internship over the summer, or not me, because this started after I left. I'm still kind of jealous about that, but still, you can do an internship where let's say you want to do an internship out in Silicon Valley. You find a company there that has an internship, you apply for it, you get it, you go through a process on our campus. We will pay everything that it costs for you to do that internship. So the flight out there, money for your housing, stipend for living. If there's different clothing or other materials that you might need for the internship, we fully pay for and fund those things. so that you can get that experience. Sounds good, doesn't it? But it gets even better than that. When you get back, what the way they look at it is, if you didn't do this internship, you would have done what you normally did, was work over the summer. You would have had a summer job.
Mhm.
So when you get back, you get money in your pocket for completing your internship that you then get to start the school year with. And I don't remember that dollar amount, Morgan. I don't know if you know that,
Oh,
but
I'm
I
not
think it
sure
differs
offhand.
based on where you do it and some other factors. But
Even
yeah,
more.
we probably can talk all day about the different resources that we have on campus. Money that we pay for graduating students to move, money
Mm-hmm.
we pay for graduating students to go visit college campuses where they want to do their grad program, or we pay for them to go to a interview for a job that they might be applying for after they graduate. Every student gets, is it like $500 to go shop at Macy's and meet with a specialist, someone to help them there as far as choosing professional clothing when they graduate. It goes on and on. We strongly invest in our students inside and outside of the classroom.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this to me is why you set the students up so good when they graduate. This is why there are no legacy children, because you set them up so good to where you now have the foundation that other people who were kind of born into it have. And your children are now going to be well, above what you started off in the world as. You're really setting them up for generational wealth in a way that every parent wants to provide, but some can't. And I think that Berea is a very good foundation for those who want it, but didn't really come from it, but it's a good way for them to get it. And I'm hoping that everybody can see that with this college. Number one, ranked in the country. And having that title, you didn't get it lightly. So I can see now why you are the number one ranked college in the country. That's a phenomenal work. Thank you both, Morgan and Kahlil, for being our guests on the show today. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
So, if you are interested in working with us and learning more about how we can help your teen or your program of students get through the college application process, you can always visit us at barrier-breakers.org, or more specifically, you can visit us at college.barrier-breakers.org. Again, that's college.barrier-breakers.org. You'll be able to find all information about our services there. You can always send us an email at hello@barrier-breakers.org. And if you are interested in supporting the work that we do here as a nonprofit, you can always go to barrier-breakers.org/support. There you'll be able to see more about how to help us support more students, how to volunteer with us, or if you want to sponsor a student and help us as we expand our free access to low-income students, you'll be able to sponsor a student there as well. None of this would be possible without your support. So whether you are supporting our work or you're signing your student up to work with us, we are so looking forward to getting to know you.